The sound of his mother's voice from the kitchen signaled that David's 5 minutes were up. He wanted to say, "Mom, 5 more minutes." But the kitchen smelled so good that he found himself washing his face in front of the mirror. When she dried herself and went into the kitchen, she realized that her mother had woken her up before breakfast was ready. Because the task of buying bread was waiting for her this morning as it was every morning. This might have bothered her, but she was even happy to go because she could buy a nice chocolate bar that she wanted every time she went. She quickly got ready and went to the nearest supermarket. It was a very big supermarket, and perhaps it had the largest variety of chocolates. Even when a new chocolate bar came out, he would come here first. So Eijman ran to the chocolate aisle before the bread aisle. He wondered which one to buy this time. He looked to see if there was a new chocolate. There were so many kinds that he was confused. "I wish I could have them all and eat them all," she thought. "If they gave me this place, I would eat it all in a day," she thought. Sometimes he was very imaginative and thought the unthinkable. He had such a thought again and wished that I was the only one left in the world and everything was mine. I would have everything and I would be over the moon with happiness. Then he closed his eyes, and when he opened them, he was shocked by what he saw. The market, which had just been full of people, was empty. There was a great silence. Eijman was in shock. He closed and opened his eyes again. But again, there was not even one person. He couldn't believe what had happened. It couldn't be real. Where had everyone gone? Or had his wish come true? It didn't take her long to get over the shock of thinking that her wish had been granted. "Yay! Everything is mine now. I can do whatever I want," he shouted at the top of his lungs. After all, there was no one who could silence her now. She immediately went to the chocolate aisle and started eating whatever she could get her hands on. She ate so much that she felt her head start to ache. In her imagination, she thought she could finish it all. Still, she pushed her limits. She went to the drink section and tasted all the drinks she wanted to taste. She realized she couldn't eat or drink anymore and thought about what else she could do. There was a toy world that she enjoyed going to very much. Sometimes she would go there with her family and buy toys, but she always had other toys in her mind that she wanted to buy. Because they were all beautiful. One wanted to have them all. Now was the right time. She had everything now. She could go there and have fun as she wanted. He immediately started running towards the toy world. Sometimes in the middle of the road, sometimes on the sidewalk. Because now there were no cars to hit on the road and no people to collide with on the sidewalk. When he entered the door of the toy world, his eyes widened. He could do whatever he wanted inside. He went to the remote-controlled toy section he wanted the most. Helicopters and airplanes were flying inside. He moved from toy to toy, but he realized something. Some toys could not be played alone. He could not share the joy of playing alone with anyone. The sounds of joy were spreading and disappearing in the void. David stopped for a moment. He realized that the world he imagined was not as perfect as he thought. He didn't feel like playing with toys anymore. In fact, he didn't want to do anything. He started walking home with sad steps. As he walked, his eyes wandered around. He saw empty shops and empty parks. Even the absence of people he had never met, maybe people he would never meet, began to upset him. It was as if just standing there was a part of his life. Shuffling her feet, she came to the door of their house with a tearful expression and pressed the buzzer. The thought of what a big mistake she had made echoed in her brain with the sound of the bell. Because now there was no one to open the door. She couldn't take it anymore, and she collapsed in front of the door and started to cry her eyes out. Just at this moment, he seemed to hear a voice from deep inside. "David, breakfast is ready. Come on, get up, son." At the sound, he sat up in bed. Beads of sweat were running down his face. He had woken up from a nightmare. When she realized that what had happened was not real, she felt a sense of relief. He quickly washed his face and ran to the kitchen. When he saw his mother, he hugged her tightly. His mother was surprised. "Where did this love come from in the morning?" She said, "You can't fool me so easily if you're doing it to avoid going to buy bread." David said, "No way, I'll go and get it. And left the house. As soon as he walked out of the door, he looked at the faces of everyone he met and smiled, wishing them good morning. When he entered the supermarket, he chose the most beautiful bread from the bread aisle. She bought a chocolate bar for everyone in the house. The people she saw around her made her so happy that she wanted to hug even strangers. On his way home, he saw a child even younger than himself and felt like sharing his chocolate with him. She gave the child the chocolate she had bought for herself. She had eaten many chocolates before, but it was as if no chocolate had ever given her such happiness. Because he realized that happiness was not in having, but in sharing.